Hey, what's up, everybody? It's been a while, but welcome to another episode of Gavin Richard Presents. I'm Gavin Richard. Hope everybody's doing good on this beautiful Monday. I know I'm doing all right, but I know it's been very difficult, especially over what happened this past weekend, Sunday, in Sutherland Springs, Texas, with this mass shooting that occurred. I believe 26 people were killed by, we're just going to have to call it what it is, a terrorist. And I don't know all of the facts of the situation, but you kill multiple people like that. If that happens to me, that's an act of terrorism. There's no question about it. But, media will spin it around and say a mentally ill person, a madman. And you notice they always do it when it's white people. They'll say mentally ill. Even with Dylan Roof, they try to, I know for a fact, he tried to plead insanity and the court denied it because they didn't consider him insane. But the media was trying to go along and do that. Now, that's not what this video is about. In talking about that, but what this video was about, what I wanted to talk about is what is it that, and this is just in general, from what we've seen in Las Vegas and what we see here, I always notice that many of these disasters, because they are these tragedies, get politicized, which is obviously a normal thing about gun control. And I, being an owner of a couple of guns, including an AR-15 myself, I don't believe that, and I certainly don't want to politicize this. I see people saying, why does anybody need this? Or what's the purpose of these guns? What's the purpose of having a gun? And the basic purpose of it is the right of self-defense and and the right to protect yourself from tyranny. Because if we all thought about this for a moment, just think about this. If everyone in the world are starting small, if everyone in the United States didn't have guns, of course, people logically think if I don't have that, that will stop mass shootings. And yes, it will. But will that stop murder? If you can murder someone, obviously you don't need a gun. If you look at the largest killing of people in this country under 9/11, and I have questions about that. They flew jets into planes and killed thousands of people. If you look at even when it comes to the black community before 9/11, the largest terrorist act, the first one perpetrated on the United States against its own people, was in a place called Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the Black Wall Street division, a neighborhood where there were black businesses, and they dropped nitroglycerin from private airplanes, just the B planes that you'll see like in King Kong and Indiana Jones. They took these planes and they dropped nitroglycerin on these buildings just because they were jealous of the African Americans that lived there. You also have here the Oklahoma City bombing, where Timothy McVeigh used ammonium nitrate and cow fertilizer and used that to blow up a federal building where he killed, if I'm correct, over 200 people. So is it necessarily true that a gun will stop, or not having a gun is going to stop a mass murderer from killing someone? No, it's not. Criminals will find a way. If someone wants to murder someone, they will find a way. And I'm not trying to be insensitive to the families or anybody that has lost someone to gun violence, but we look at blaming the tool often, and we don't blame the fool who is responsible for this. More details are coming out. Apparently, I read this guy, he had animal cruelty charges. He was discharged from the military. Various things are coming out about his background. And I noticed they rarely try and show the pictures of these guys, or they'll show them in their best state, just like the shooter from Las Vegas. He looked like he was having a good time. And they still haven't found a motive for that. You can call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but I've just had questions about these things that happen, because there are such things as false flags. I don't know this for a fact, so I don't want to go out and definitely say this is true. because I wasn't there, and I only look at what I've seen on video, what I've seen in the news. But I always notice when these things happen, someone is trying to push to limit the rights of American citizens further and further. After 9/11, the we had the Patriot Act, which limited our Fourth Amendment rights to protect us from unreasonable searches and seizures in government. In 2012, when Barack Obama was president, we had the National Defense Authorization Act, which allowed the government basically to come in your home and say if you're a terrorist, they can hold you without trial. And I believe that happened to someone in Florida once where they were accused under that. Can't be particularly sure, but I did see the video on it from the news website. So these things do happen. And I'm not, but morally speaking, saying that all of this is true, what causes someone to do such a thing where they decide they're going to go into a house of worship, just like Dylan Roof did, which to me was an act of terrorism. We know that they won't call it an act of terrorism because he's white, but nevertheless, what would cause someone to go in a church or a school? A church being the places where, those are the places where you should feel safe. A church is somewhere definitely, all God's children are welcome. All are welcome, as the motto goes. And for someone to just execute grandmothers, grandfathers, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, sons and daughters, he supposedly, from what I read on CNN, he killed his mother-in-law. So it seems like this, just based off what the news is saying, this was something that was targeted. He planned probably to hit it, but more and more facts are coming out on this. So, or from what they're describing, but there's certainly, I believe, it has more not to do with guns, but more to do with a failure in morality. What's moral in the world, I feel, has been lost. The innocence of youth, as they said, the thing is no longer there. Just look at the things that are on television that we see, the things our kids are exposed to, the things we're exposed to in media. We also look, and I guess how we can tell is a lack of morality is, just look at this past election and what we had to vote for. You had to vote between someone basically who likes to grab them by the pussy and another one who has a lot of trust issues, honesty issues, and it's coming out more and more how corrupt, Hillary is, though I think Donald Trump, they were all just as corrupt. It was basically, you were trying to choose between which one was worse, Satan or the devil. And, that's not a good vote for either. But, I certainly didn't believe that, while I think Hillary Clinton obviously would be more professional, I certainly think she was a very flawed character. And I still believe that, though Donald Trump is very flawed too. But, but no, getting back to it, I just think that there's a lack of morals in this country, and the men in this country basically have to step up and stand up. I think that our women in particular, they also have to, not only be brave and bold, but I think they also got to play a role in it too. I think that, when it comes to raising our children, we don't need to, there's just, we've growing up as kids, not only just telling them right from wrong, but people that they can stay away from that may be a negative influence, and basically also, teaching and showing them. You don't just teach, you just don't speak it to them. You show them by example. You lead by example, and who knows? Could some of these things? Can't say that something like this wouldn't happen, because it does. But excuse me, that's a notification. But it's just dangerous times we live in. But that's just my 2 cents, and I send my prayers, I send my condolences to those that were affected, those that lost someone out there in Texas. It's just dangerous times we live in, guys. So if you see somebody, shake their hand, say hello, be a little kind today. That's just my 2 cents. Y'all take it easy. Peace. One love.